Radio Africana.
Your non-stop entertainment radio.
Parenting isn't always easy. Family life comes with its joys, its struggles, and its stories. That's why we created Family Room, the show where real conversations about parenting and family happens. Join Faye Kemi every Saturday at 6 p.m. on Radio Africana, right here in Manchester, as we dive into heartfelt conversations from raising confident children to keeping love alive at home to building stronger family bonds. Whether you're a parent, guardian, or simply part of a family, Family Room is your space to listen, share, and grow together. Family Room, because every family has a story worth telling. Only on Radio Africana, Manchester.
Good evening, my people, and welcome to the Family Room on Radio Africana. It's 6 p.m. on this beautiful Saturday, and wherever you are, resting, cooking, are you with your family? Are you with your children? Are you driving home or just relaxing? Thank you for letting me into your space this evening. This is where we talk everything about parenting, children, family, and everything in between, with an African heart and a global voice. I'm your host, Faye Kemi, and today's topic is one that every parent needs. Last week was awesome in the studio because we had on phone with us Claire, who really went on to talk about, positive discipline. But today we're not talking about positive discipline, but we're talking about raising resilient kids in the changing world. Yes, the world, it's actually changing every day. In fact, I would say every second, every minute, the world is changing. And our children face a world full of pressure, distractions, expectations, but also full of opportunities. Yes, you can tell me. Because as parents, sometimes we are always being careful and we are always, we don't want them to take risk. But I will tell you that this world is full of opportunities, and resilience is what helps them to stand strong through it all. So today we've got a lot of things we want to unpack about what to do. And we've already got comments. We have some comments that have come in before the show, which I'm going to read and my guest is going to talk about. So when I come back, I'm going to be talking with my guest. But before I do that, we're not going to be live on our social media handles today, but you can join us on Radio Africana Live. Due to some certain reason, I'm not live on my social handles today, but you can join Radio Africana. Go to www.radioafricana.com or you download on App Store and join us on Radio Africana. If you also want to send a comment after the show, of course, I'm going to post some other things on my handles, and then you can still send in your comments, which I'll read later next week. So we're going to take a short break now, and when we return, we'll dive into it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, if you're just joining us, this is the Family Room with Faye Kemi, and I've got a guest in the studio today. But before I introduce my guest, don't forget that we are not live on my handles today, but you can join us live on Radio Africana. Go to the website and join us live as we are doing the show right now. And also, you can also follow me on my social media handles on Instagram, Faye Kemi Bangushe, on TikTok as well. On TikTok, I'm FK Mighty, and on Facebook, I'm Faye Kemi Bangushe, also on Facebook. So today in the studio to talk about this topic, which is raising resilient kids in this changing world, I've got no other person but Remy Olatunde. He's a media guru, a creative director. He's also a marketing specialist, and he's a creative director with SBM Media and a principal partner with Rooks and Rooks Global Communications. And of course, he has 18 years of experience working with teens as a coach. He's a coachee. He's everybody's coach, including my own coach too. And he's also a pastor. So he's married with a beautiful daughter. I know he said beautiful daughter. So I will say he's married to a gorgeous woman. So join me to welcome Remy Olatunde. Remy, how are you today? I know you are laughing. I'm cracking you up.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for having me in the room today.
Yes, it's indeed a room for single parents and, of course, the married ones. So,
Yes,
how are you doing today? Hope you've been
I'm
enjoying the
doing
weekend.
well. It's been great so far.
All right. So, thank you for joining me on this show today. So, let's quickly dive into this. So, let's talk about resilience. So, resilience doesn't mean being tough or pretending everything is okay. Remember, while we were growing up, a lot of people would say, "You'll be fine. Don't cry. Be strong." You understand? They would just ignore the emotions. So, but for me, it means having that inner strength or to bounce back, to adapt, or to keep going, even when life gets hard. For me, being a resilient child, being resilient from childhood, that is what has built my makeup as a woman, as a mother, as a wife. So, what do you think about this?
Sincerely, in my assessment, being resilient is one of the attributes that you actually need to succeed in life. In a world that is so hostile and harsh to, people trying to climb the ladder of success, you need resilience, and you start building resilience at a very young age because you need it even from that very young age to start moving life. So, like you said, resilience is not about your inability to accept certain things. Rather,
Mhm.
resilience is, for me, it's about how you perceive life and how you take things that come your way, and then despite probably the disappointments, despite the hardships, despite the issues of life, you still stand above the waters. That is
Mhm.
what resilience is. You don't give up easily, and for you to do that sincerely, you need to start building that from a very, very young age. Children, perfect time to start with kids.
Mhm.
Perfect
Mhm.
time to start.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. So for you now, would you say so you will quite agree with me that mistakes are learning opportunities. So when our children make mistakes, what should they experience? Should it be the calm presence? What does our calm presence do to them? Does it strengthen them, or do you think the parents should not be calm at all when children make mistakes? Because I believe that mistakes are learning opportunities. You understand? So
Well,
what should every parent do when children make mistakes?
uh-huh. Welfare is a mixture of a whole lot of things. It's a mixture of so many things. When you talk about the calmness when a child makes mistake, and then also the firmness, and see, at the end of the day, what you want to do is that you want to make that child better, even from the mistake experience. Every opportunity to learn from that mistake comes to mind, and
Mhm.
your presence, whether you are firm, whether you are calm, whether you're soft and gentle with the child, must direct the child towards actually learning from that mistake experience. It's as simple as that. There are different parents that have different perspective to mistakes when it comes to children. But we must not forget the fact that these children also are humans, that they have emotions, and their emotions are just being molded at that particular stage of their lives.
Mhm.
So, making a mistake must be an opportunity for them to learn from that mistake and grow from that mistake. Yeah.
Okay. So, when children learn in our own African culture of storytelling, do you think that storytelling actually builds resilience in children? For me, I always believe that our African stories are stories of courage, of perseverance, and of community. So, do you think our African stories does this to children? Because some people actually say that. So do you think it does?
Now, sincerely, in all honesty, one of the things that I will ever forever be grateful for
Mhm.
concerning my mom bringing us up is the stories that she told us when we were growing up.
Okay.
Those stories were stories that, carved the kind of person that I became. And even my sisters, it went to a great length to empower us to build our emotions. Stories about courage, stories about kindness, stories about a whole lot of things. There was a way that she didn't tell the stories only to entertain, but to
Okay.
teach, to inform, to educate, and to actually deliberately build. Because when you talk about building resilience in children, you have to make deliberate effort to make that happen. And for me, that was part of the experiences that I had growing up. That especially when you talk about storytelling, it's a wonderful tool in order to build the child emotionally and give support to the child. Yeah, I agree. You can't take that away from African parents, sincerely.
Okay. Thank you very much for that very one that you just mentioned. So children need room to feel their emotions, like you said. So how about a situation whereby parents suppress their emotions? Like I mentioned before, they will say, "Keep calm. Nothing happens." Because I've worked with early years. I worked with early years for some years in for a few years in the UK, and then working with early years. It made me understand that when a child feels something, you don't suppress it. You don't say no. You don't just keep it. You don't just say no. You don't need to feel that way. Because I remember when I started working with early years, my senior colleagues would just say, like, try to caution me not to tell them not to. But because of my background, what do you think? Should we suppress? Should we tell them no? They don't need to feel that way.
There are certain parenting patterns that don't work anymore because they've been tested and not been proven to work. You don't suppress a child's emotion by your words, by your actions, because what you begin to create in that child probably will be negative emotions. Okay, but at every moment, whatever the situation, whatever the child is facing, whatever the child is going through, you need to encourage the child to express his or her emotions, because that is the only time that you also can get into that space to be able to help them, to build them up to what they are supposed to be. If you begin to speak to a child from the point of you're a man, be strong, be calm, and all, and then you suppress the emotions that are supposed to actually come to the fore at the time when that child is experiencing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
certain of those emotions, you will end up not getting the best for that child. I can show you that what you get eventually is a child that is lacking in certain aspects when it comes to social relations, when it comes to his emotion or her emotions. So it's not going to help the child when you start suppressing the emotions of the child. Rather, you must give room, you must give space, standing side by side them to enable them to express those emotions as it comes out,
Okay.
no matter the emotion. And you must be in a place where you are able to actually help them to handle those emotions.
Okay. All right. We're going to go on a quick break again. But before we go on a quick break, I'm just going to give a few practical tips to parents, whether you're single or married, before we come back from the break. I'm just going to give the quick practical tips now. Number one, let them try before you step in. When a child wants to do something, let them try before you step in. Teach them problem solving. Ask, what do you think you should do? Ask them, because that is what they will always use in future, to always think out of the box, build routines. Number four, celebrate effort, every little effort. I remember before coming into the studio, when my girls came back from where they went to, the other one was already vacuuming, the other one was already cleaning the kitchen, because they cooked. I'd already said, "Oh, thank you very much. You are a darling." I've learned that over time. It took me some time. And then handle age, appropriate responsibilities. Don't give what you will give to a teenager, to a 5-year-old child, or to a 10-year-old, or what you give to a 20-year-old child, to a 7-year-old child, appropriate responsibilities. So we go on a quick break right now and we'll come back. We're going to be looking at some comments from that people have sent in before the show. And we'll take a quick music break and we'll be right back.
This is Family Room with Fiyikemi.
Of course, you're welcome back. It's the Family Room right here on Radio Africana. And it's the perfect time to slow down, breathe, and spend a little moment talking about the art of our lives, family, parenting, children, and connection. We've been talking to Remy, who is our guest on the phone today. And of course, I'm your host, Faye Kemi, once again. And we've been talking about raising resilient kids in a changing world, because, we should really, really know, let's be honest, the world our children are growing up in is so different from the one we used to know back then, decades ago. It's fast paced, it's digital pressured, it's constantly changing, like I said earlier on in the show, like every second is changing. And in the middle of all that, they need strength, they need confidence, and of course, they also need emotional grounding. And of course, guess what? We can always teach our children. So we're going to be talking more into this. And I still have Remy on the phone with me. Remy, what daily habits what do you think are the daily habits that can help kids manage stress or disappointment better? Though I sent in some questions earlier on in the week, and some people already, so I'm going to, mention some of those comments from people. So what are the daily habits that can help kids manage stress or disappointment better?
Okay. You said something about the fact that the world is fast paced now, and there is a dynamic world, and there is a whole lot of change that has happened from the time decades ago when we're growing up, as compared to what you have today. But there are some things that never do change, and they still are relevant even in this particular age. One of them is having physical activities with your children. Having daily movements, playing outside, dancing, walking, helping them to just release stress.
To calm down. Yeah.
Exactly. Calm them down. Then another area that is very important, I tend to hear parents say, some parents, they say things like, I'm your parent, I'm not your friend. But that is really, yes, that is really not the way to go, because you have to be the friend as well as the parents. The only thing is that you must find a way to strike a balance. Okay? Because you don't want to do with your child growing up and then confiding in somebody else rather than running to you when there are issues. So the place of emotional bonding, he or she must see you as a friend as well as a parent that you are. So the place of problem solving together is another area that can help in terms of daily activities that you can do with your children to help them. When you encourage them to take simple steps, like ask what happened, how do you feel, what can you try next time to make this better or to take a better decision on this. All these are areas that help them to build resilience, to build confidence. Okay, you can look at incorporating moments of gratitude. Ask them. It can be concerning the family. It can be concerning, their lives themselves. It can be concerning their siblings or you as a parent. Ask questions like, they should mention 3 things that they are grateful for in their family, in their family. Yes, this also are things that, apart from connecting you together, bonding, they come to rely on the fact that you talk to them constantly. And that helps the process of developing their mindsets.
Okay. Just like what you mentioned, before about how to manage the stress. One of the comments that someone sent, Shegun said, So just with them, you already mentioned that. Just with them, play or sleep, sometimes stay over in their room. Sometimes what I do every day as a parent, I just take some minutes, I go to my daughter's room and then I sit down with them and then we just gist, and they will tell me whatever the issue is or whatever is stressing them up.
Yeah, you need to do that a lot. That is the friend part of their parent coming out.
Mhm.
And believe me, they will always revert to you.
Someone also said, Ada said, teach them simple breathing exercises, especially the younger ones when they are stressed up. Just tell them. I remember we do that a lot when I was in early years practice. We just say, breathe in, breathe out, and all that. And they feel
Yeah.
calmer, you understand? So like Ada is a nurse. She said that, so you tell them to inhale 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds. So that actually helps the children to calm down when stressed. Thank you very much, Ada, for that. So, but how can we then teach emotional intelligence in a simple way? So, and what does routine responsibilities play in raising resilient kids? What does routine responsibility and responsibility plays in raising resilient kids?
When you talk about teaching emotional intelligence in simple ways,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that you need to get the children or the kids to do is this. You need to get them to identify the feelings they feel and
Mm-hmm.
name them. Okay? Use phrases like, um, you look up, are you feeling sad,
Mm-hmm.
frustrated,
Mm-hmm.
or are you tired?
Mm-hmm.
Let them identify the way they feel and let them talk about it. It is very, very important because that will go a long way to actually continually let them open up to speak about the issue, the things that they feel once they know those things. You can talk about, we talked about using stories. My kids, for example, my daughter, the cartoon is one of the things that I use to teach her because it's not just
Okay.
watching cartoons for entertainment. It's
Mm-hmm.
about learning from what you're watching.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me now? We're able to talk about it. I'm forced to watch cartoons with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's even good these days to watch with them so that you know what they're watching.
When I don't feel like watching cartoons, I know that it's either I'm sitting with her watching the cartoons and then asking, how do you think this character felt concerning this particular situation that he or she was on? And that also helped them connect and to understand other people's emotion.
Wow.
Okay, it builds that empathy in them towards other people. It is very, very important.
Okay.
These are simple ways because in the routine of what they do, you are able to actually teach them without taking them out of their comfort zone in code. To get this, to pass these messages across to them. You can also incorporate the situation whereby you praise, the emotional awareness, celebrate them when they express their feelings appropriately. Oh yeah, that is it. I'm hungry. Don't say why are you hungry.
Yeah, let them express their emotions. Mm-hmm.
Yes, African parents, that's what we do. Why are you angry? You shouldn't be angry. No, you're angry. Oh, that's good. So now begin to find out why are you angry. So the way you accommodate, yes, you need to accommodate them to be able to speak to the situation that they are facing.
Yeah.
These are simple ways to actually build their, emotional intelligence with them.
Mm-hmm, true. So there's also a comment here from Akim. Akim says, stress and disappointment are part of growing children because as humans, there is every tendency for kids to be stressed. So, but if not taken care of, could lead to depression. A lot of people always feel children don't get depressed. So he says, some of these can help kids manage stress. So understand yourself, understand themselves, know their strengths and weaknesses. So and they'll be enthusiastic about life. And then they will, when they look at themselves in the mirror, I'm still reading Akim's comment, and they will speak life and have good self-esteem, and they will avoid procrastination. They will never expect too much from people, that means they just believe in themselves. That's what Akim also have said. Let me see. Before I take more comments, so how do parents avoid protecting children while still being loving? Remy, how can parents avoid overprotecting children? Because when you overprotect them, they will not have that strength. You're not going to build their emotional strength.
You are not going to help them at all in any way when you're protecting them, and that is overprotecting. One of the things that you can do is you need to allow what we call safe struggles. Okay, allow them to take on attempt tasks, even when they fail at first. Support them. Okay, don't say no. This task is too big for you to accomplish. Okay, you step in such a way that you are a guide, not a solution to the problem. You stand by them to actually help them in the process of they themselves solving certain problems. That way you are supporting, you are not actually standing in front of them to be the one to do it for them. That helps to build confidence. Another thing that you need to do, that as parents, when it comes to trying to avoid overprotecting the children and just leaving them to actually grow on their own as a loving parent, is that you encourage them to try new things.
Sure.
There is nobody, even among adults, that trying new things is always easy for. But when with the support and encouragement of others, we tend to try new things. And then we see, even when we fail in those things, we have people who are encouraging us not to give up on them until we are successful. The same thing applies to children also. You must encourage them to try new things, because it is when they try new things that they begin to learn. Don't protect them from failures. Failure is a part of the learning process of life. Okay? The only thing is that when they fall, you pick them up and ask them to continue the race. That is where the strength lies. That is where learning actually becomes fun for children. They fall, they fail, but they are not criticized or condemned for their failures. Rather, they are encouraged, and then they pick up themselves and say, "Yes, I can do this with the support I am getting."
Okay. Just like you mentioned, Ada says during her comment, she says that you should show emotional support, not that you should make them be afraid of anything.
Yeah. Yes. And don't forget also, you need to use language that are supportive. A whole lot of African parents at times are guilty of this. Like I said before, your words must not be condemning, but rather encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay. And then don't forget also, it's very important for you to set boundaries.
Yeah.
Set boundaries, but with freedom. That's why I talked about balance when it comes to being a friend and being a parent.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to set boundaries, but set those boundaries with freedom. Give them choices. Things like, do you want to do your homework now or after snacks? What you have done is giving the child the opportunity to make a choice, but at the end of the day, that child will eventually do his or her homework.
Yeah.
Okay. That builds independence. At the same time, it builds confidence, and then it also gives responsibility to the child. The child begins to understand that even at this young age, I can be entrusted with certain decisions to make. It's a choice.
Okay. Just let me read more comments. Like what Ada says is, if it's, in fact, is as if you both sat down in the same room and you talked about this. It said, guide, don't control. Instead of saying, don't do that, try. So she says that, how can you do it safely? You can ask the question. So, and that is, like I said, that was what I learned when I worked with younger children. So you can ask, how can you do it safely? A child wants to climb something, you don't say, don't climb. So you just say, oh, take a little step. So you stay supportive without limiting their growth. And she also said, teach natural consequences, encourage problem solving, ask, what do you think you should do? Let them think before you give the answer. So let them use their brain. Like I remember when we were younger, they would say, use your medulla oblongata. Let them think. So she also said, you mentioned, reasonable boundaries. She said, that's what I said initially, that maybe both of you sat in the same room. She said, set clear but reasonable boundaries. So because rules help kids, the kids to feel safe. Like I always tell my younger daughter, she loves jumping around. I keep telling her, don't run across the stairs. If you want to go down the stairs, just walk. Don't run, because if you run, you fall, you slide, and then you hit your back. What will happen? Then she will tell me I could break my back. So you see, so I'm allowing her to think and to give me the answer.
Yeah, believe me, they tend to test those boundaries at times. But once that is the place where now the firmness now comes in. You understand? And they know that, okay, fine, these boundaries have been set just for my own good. They tend to learn over time also. But they will test those boundaries. Okay, but you have to set those boundaries in love.
Okay. Thank you for that. So we'll go on a quick break right now. And then when we come back to read more comments, and then you react for us based on those comments. If you're still joining us, it's the Radio Africana, and this is the Family Room. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go away.
With Fayikemi on Radio Africana, Manchester.
Yes, you're welcome back. It's still the Family Room on Radio Africana, and we are broadcasting live from the city of Manchester. A lot of people sometimes ask, is it an online radio? Of course, it's not. We are broadcasting live from the city of Manchester, and we are calling on all advertisers, to bring in your product and advertise with us, because Radio Africana is actually an Afrobeat radio station, and we give it back-to-back music and great content. And of course, we're still talking about raising resilient kids in this changing world. I still have with me on the phone Remy Olatunde, who is a media and marketing specialist. He's a creative director with SBM Media and a principal partner with Rooks and Rooks Global Communications. Has got 18 years working with teens as a coach and as a pastor. So I want to ask now, Remy, a lot of kids, there's this adage in my own, father's tribe, but I'm not going to say it in that language. Like when there's this Iroko tree that it's from the beginning, I'm sure you are already giggling, but the Iroko tree, you start the planting and everything about Iroko tree from when it's young, the baby plant, because when it's grown, when it's big, the Iroko tree, the Iroko, the young plant becomes a big tree. There's nothing you can do anymore. So what would be your advice to children out there, to teenagers especially? You've been coaching teenagers. I want you to talk to the teenagers right now, whom probably their parents, especially those in regions where parents have discouraged them, they are not built when it comes to resilience. So what would be your advice? I want you to talk to them in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Well, the truth of the matter is this. Your life is your life, and you have to take responsibility for your life. No matter what you have come through in life, no matter what you have faced, there is still time for you to actually get the necessary skills that are needed to navigate life. It's just a deliberate effort. Yes, while parenting is intentional, for those who are for the children, for the teens, and the young people out there, you also have to understand the fact that at the end of the day, your parents won't be the ones to live your life for you. You have to live your life, and for you to succeed in life, there are certain skill sets that you need. If it was unfortunate that you didn't come across these skill sets when you were much younger, that does not mean that even at this particular point of your life that you still can't build learn those skills. exactly build those attitudes, those skills for yourself. As long as you have a singular mindset of being successful and relevant in life, and when I talk about being successful, I'm talking about you living your life to the fullest. Then you just have to look within society, look amongst, building the right relationships. That will help a lot. Building true right relationships, true right social relationships. You are able to find the emotional connection that you will need to actually navigate life among your peers, among even family members, among the social structures that you have. You look at that, and then you also look at people that you can begin to look at and call them role models. Because when we talk about resilience, within people, you can see people who are resilient.
Yes, not necessarily your parents.
Exactly, not necessarily your parents. There are people out there who read about their own stories, and it can encourage and inspire you to be what you want to be also. That would be my message to young people, especially teenagers and younger people out there.
Thank you very much. So I would say, I want to say, first of all, say thank you to everyone that have dropped in their comments. Alasa, Shehu, Akim, Ada, Shego. So my takeaways from what you have said and everybody have said today is that let children try, let them fail, and let them try again. And the second one is praise effort, not perfection, but you need to praise every little effort. And of course, we also learned that allow age appropriate responsibilities. So you can't expect so much from children. And of course, create a calm home atmosphere. Your calm becomes their stability. When you're calm, if something happens as a parent and you're saying the F word, you're saying the S word, and you're using all the swear words in this word, your children will grow up not to be calm. But when they know when something happens, mom does not, she does not fidget and at all. They will not do that. So in 30 seconds, can you give us your final words to every child and to every parent in 30 seconds?
Well, to every parent, I will say, well done. Being a parent is not easy, but you have to be intentional and you have to continue with the task that has been assigned to you to help them, to build them up. For the children, well, it's just keep trying. Even when you fail, don't give up. Even when it seems as if it's impossible, there is nothing impossible for you to achieve. Just keep trying and you surely get there.
All right. Thank you very much, Remy, for coming on the show today and throwing more light on this particular topic. We can't take it for granted for taking out your time. And to all parents listening, you are raising future leaders, thinkers, creators. Just be patient with them and with yourself. And that's it for today's episode of The Family Room. Thank you to my wonderful guest, Remy, and to everyone tuning in across the UK and beyond. Join me next week as we continue building stronger families, one conversation at a time. If you are with your family, give them a warm hug. If they are far away, send them a message of love. Let's take it home with this beautiful classic from Whitney Houston, Family First. See you next Saturday at 6 p.m.